Hey rock stars, welcome back to String and Story. My name is Holly Ann Knight and it's my job to guide you to quilt and to live with confidence. Thank you so much for joining me this evening as we talk about the supplies you need for free motion quilting. My biggest goal tonight is to help you understand that it doesn't take a lot of fancy equipment to get started quilting your own quilts. If you've heard that before, it's a total myth and I'm out to bust it tonight. The other thing that I want to do is if you are interested in the Free Motion Quilting Academy, this is part of the video series that I'm doing here in the fall of 2019 in preparation for the reopening of my course. Free Motion Quilting Academy is an online course designed to take you from a beginner to a confident intermediate free motion quilter. If you've been telling yourself time and time again that you want to finish your own quilts, that you don't want to send them out to the long arm, or you want to do more than straight lines, even if it's not all your quilts, maybe just some of your quilts, then Free Motion Quilting Academy is likely the course for you. I'll talk a little bit about it at the end of this video, but in the meanwhile, if something I've just said struck a chord, make sure you get your name on the waiting list. You'll find the link in the caption of this video. All right, let's go ahead and dive into these supplies that you need. The first and most obvious thing that you need is, of course, a sewing machine. Now, I have a beautiful Juki J150 here from sewingmachine.com, and I love it a lot, and it's wonderful for free motion quilting. But I also want to make sure that you know that you don't need a big fancy machine in order to take this journey with me, all right? I've done free motion quilting on everything from $100 Kenmore to top of the line Berninas and everything in between. And you know what? They all did a great job. So whatever machine you have at home is likely the perfect place for you to start, okay? And again, the other things that we're gonna do along with this, they're very basic. And if you find that you fall in love with free motion quilting and you want a different machine, that's totally fine. But please don't feel compelled to go get something new just for this new endeavor, all right? Start with what you have. It'll likely do just fine for now. Now, additional supplies that you need. You, of course, will need thread. What else are we going to quilt with, right? But I particularly love Aurifil 50 weight. This is a lovely cotton thread. It's very fine, but very strong. There's a few things that I love about it. First of all, if we have our cotton quilt top and back and we use a natural fiber batting and we quilt it with beautiful cotton Aurifil thread, then we're not, no matter how densely we quilt that sucker, gonna end up with a piece of cardboard, all right? You run your quilt through the wash, even a very densely quilted quilt, and it's gonna be soft and squishy because that's what cotton and wool and bamboo and silk do, right? That's what natural fibers do, is they squish. Right, so you're gonna get a nice soft effect even if you decide that you love dense quilting like I love dense quilting. The other thing with it is that this very fine thread melts into your quilt top like butter, right? And while you might be 6 to 12 inches from your quilt top while you're working on it, nobody else is ever gonna be that close. And most people are gonna see it after that quilt's been washed and dried. That means it's gonna be beautifully crinkled, your thread will have sunk beautifully into your fabric, and they're gonna see the gorgeous texture you've created. This is an opportunity for you to take pride in your work, even if you're still working on things like stitch length, okay? Right along with that, you're gonna need needles. Now, the standard needle recommendation for Aurifil 50 weight is a size 12, but I find that a size 12 is a little bit thin for free motion quilting. I've had a couple of broken needles and it just is awful, absolutely awful, especially as you're getting started and you're still learning how to handle the bulk and weight of the quilt, right? I prefer a size 14 or a size 16. Don't worry about the needle hole in your quilt. That washes out too, all right? It shrinks right up when you wash that quilt. And I like these because they're sturdier. They're better at handling bulky seams. If you've got a little bit of drag on your needle, it's not just gonna snap, okay? Also with machine assembly, you will need a free motion quilting foot. Now there's several varieties on the market. The most common that you're gonna see is this plastic hopping foot. Some people are driven mad by the fact that it hops. It doesn't bother me too much, but I just mention it in case you tend to be one of those people that just like, you can't handle little noises. It can sometimes squeak, so keep that in mind. But the beautiful thing about it is that these are very affordable online and you can find them to fit most machines. So it makes for an easy investment. Sometimes you'll also see metal hopping foots. You can see that looks just a little bit different. Hopping foots, hopping feet. And then of course, this is more like a long arm or a ruler foot. This is what goes on my Juki. I like it a lot, but you're not gonna find a foot like this for every machine. Now, if you do have a nicer machine and you have a local dealer, I recommend going in and asking them if they have multiple choices for your machine and try them out there in the dealership and pick your favorite to bring home, all right? Otherwise, if you've got an off-the-shelf machine or you're really just getting started or you wanna keep this super affordable, go ahead and start with a plastic hopping foot. You can always upgrade from there, all right? Your hands. We have your machine. The other big piece of equipment here is you and your hands, right? I like to use a pair of gloves to help me keep a good grip on my quilt. It also helps make sure that, oils and sweat and anything else that might be on my fingers don't end up on my quilt. These I got as a freebie with a magazine, but I also love the Fons and Porter navy cotton ones. They're really lovely and easy to get your hands on. They're often even carried at big box stores. But honestly, if you're really wanting to start kind of like your most basic, you could get a pair of dollar store gardening gloves. You just want a lightweight glove that has something kind of grippy on the palms and fingers, okay? If you happen to have arthritis or other joint issues, check out these little grippy pads, these grip and stitch quilting discs. I know you can get them from sewingmachine.com. There are probably other places as well. But these you can use more of your palm and less of your fingers to control and manipulate the quilt. So if you have any joint problems, these might be easier. I don't have a lot of experience with them, but there's something I've heard recommended, and so I like to just make reference to them if you're concerned about that. All right. That's it, guys. That really is it. Machine, thread, needles, foot, gloves. So basic, right? Now you will find in the caption of this video a link to my Amazon Picks page where you can order basically everything I've talked about here today. So if you're like, I don't live close to a store, how am I gonna get this? That's your thing. The other thing you're gonna find in the caption of this video is some information. The first bit of information is my tutorial on how to set your machine tension. Once you get these supplies and get them all on your machine, the next logical step is to start playing around. And in order to do that effectively, you'll need to set the tension on your machine. So I've included a link to my tutorial to show you how to do that to get a beautiful balanced stitch, okay? The next bit is if you want to know my top tips for free motion quilting, and if you're watching this in semi-real time and preparing to take Free Motion Quilting Academy with me, then you'll enjoy this. But my top tips are available at that next link, the stringandstory.com/newsletter. And if you sign up, you get a beautiful PDF download with some information and some further links to things I think you'll find helpful in your free motion quilting journey. Finally, the last link is in fact stringandstory.com/rockstarstatus. This is the waiting list for Free Motion Quilting Academy. If you heard what I said at the beginning and you're like, yes, I want to learn free motion quilting and I want to learn it well. I want to be able to see measurable progress quickly. Maybe you've tried in the past and experienced frustration, or maybe you just never made the time, or maybe you're just kind of intimidated. This is the class for you, okay? Go ahead and get your name on the wait list. If you're watching this again in semi-real time, the class will be opening up in September 2019. If you're watching this later, there will be future cohorts. So go ahead and get your name on the waiting list and you'll be the first to know when the big announcements are coming out about the class, all right? Thanks so much for joining me tonight, guys. I hope that you've been able to see that it doesn't take a lot of fancy supplies to start your free motion quilting journey, and I am so excited for you to begin quilting with confidence.